Hello everyone, welcome to this informative video for you parents and carers to help your child segment and blend when they're reading their reading books. A question that I get asked often is what is blending and what is segmenting. So I'm going to explain it to you now really simply. Segmenting is when you say the individual sounds within a word, then you put them all together, blending them to then be able to read the whole word. So for example, in this word here, the word sat, there are 3 sounds in the word sat. We've got s, a, t, sat. Some children may find blending a little bit difficult to begin with when they're first starting out with phonics. But here are some activities that you can do at home that we do in school to help your child build that skill of holding sounds in their head to when they're segmenting to then be able to blend them to read the word. One of the first activities is playing Simon Says. So a very classic game that we played growing up. Simon says, put your hands on your head. Simon says, touch your toes. But as it progresses, you could add in 2 or 3 different instructions. This helps the child to think about what is being asked of them, to be able to build that in their head and build the skill of holding something in their head to then be able to think about what they have just remembered, what they have just said, or what they have just heard, and then be able to then say it back to you. Another game is the shopping list game. This is a game that we play in school on a round robin, and it's really good to get the children to think about what they have just heard and be able to try and use their memory all the time as they're going along. It can be quite difficult to start off with, but if you start off small, getting bigger and bigger, and you can change the theme as well. So for example, one person might start with, I went to the shop and I bought an apple. The next person would then have to say, I went to the shop and I bought an apple and a loaf of bread. The next person would have to say, I went to the shop and I bought an apple, a loaf of bread and an orange, and so on, and it keeps going round until another really good game is called the echo game. So you would stand on either end of a room with your child and you would start off with a really silly word, and you would say it, and then if they can repeat it back to you correctly, then you can both take a step forward. And as you progress in the game, if it's getting a little bit easy for your child, you can then start with a silly phrase, ziggity zog, and then you can then progress that and build that up to making a longer sentence. See if they can remember the sentence and then say it back to you, and then moving closer and closer together. And then once you join up together in the middle, that means that you are at the end of the game and you can start again. So before we teach children to blend letters that they can see, we need to teach them to blend the things that they can hear, the sounds they can hear. So something that you can do at home is blend everyday things that you do. So for example, brushing your teeth. You could say, brush your teeth. And then the children can do it back to you, or you can do that with something else as well. When we're teaching children to segment and blend, we start with VC words. VC stands for vowel consonant words. As you can see here are some examples of some VC words, like the word at, on, is. We will then move on to CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant. Like here, you can see an example of the word sat, which is s, a, t. S being the consonant, a being the vowel, and t being the consonant. As the children progress through their phonics phases, you will notice that some of the words begin to get a little bit tricky. The children will be taught that there are digraphs and trigraphs within words. So for example, here, this word shop, the children will be taught that the s and the h sound, when they are put together, we tell them that they are best friends. When they are best friends together, they make one sound. The s and the h together make the sound sh. And this is called a digraph, when 2 letters are together and they make one sound. A trigraph is similar, but this time this has got 3 letters that make one sound. So for example, the sound I, which is made up of I, G and H. This sound is I, like in the word night. The children will sound out this word as I, T, night. To make it easier for the children to spot these sounds within words, we tell them to use sound buttons. Sound buttons help children identify all of the different sounds within words. We use a line for digraphs and trigraphs, and we use dots for single letter sounds. So for example, in this word shop, the sh is a digraph, so it's got a line underneath it. The o and the p are just single letter sounds on their own, so when they are sounding out this word, they sound it out with 3 sounds: sh, o, p, shop. There are some children who do not get blending straight away, and please do not be disheartened by this. It may just take some practice and some getting used to segmenting and blending for them to really get their teeth into it, to be able to segment, blend and read the words. So for example, your child may bring a reading book home and sound out the word k, a, t, and then say something like umbrella. Please do not be alarmed or disheartened by this. It just takes children a little bit of time to get used to segmenting and blending. But I'm going to give you a few little tips to help make it a little bit easier. Using pure sounds is really important. Some adults and children find it hard to say sounds without saying the at the end of it. So for example, when sounding out the word sat, some adults and children might say s, a, t, when really it should be s, a, t. If your child is struggling with this, you can get your child to whisper the sounds. This encourages them to work on the shape of their mouth when it makes the different sounds. Another tip to help your child to segment and blend is to choose words with stretchy consonants. So sounds like f, o, s, instead of sounds like t, p, d, g, which are short sounds. Stretchy sounds make it a little bit easier for them to segment and blend when they start to read. So for example, in the word map, pointing to the sound and stretching it, ap, map, they might find it a little bit easier to segment and blend words that have stretchy sounds. Another tip for you is to talk like a robot. This is something that we do in school as well, and you can even move your arms as you are saying each sound as well. So within year 1, where I teach, I use Roxy robot arms. S, a, t, sat, and we would blend it back together. Sometimes your child might find it a little bit easier when they're reading to blend the word as you go along. So not the whole word, breaking up into little sections. So for example, again in the word sat, it might be easy for your child to go s, a, sa, and then s, a, t, sat. I hope you found this video useful and you now understand what segmenting and blending is. If you need any more advice, if you would like me to go into more depth within phonics, if you would like me to do an extra video talking a little bit more about phonics, then please just send me a message on Class Dojo or pop round to the Year 1 classroom at the end of the day and come and see me, and I will definitely try and help you as much as I can.